Let's breathe fresh life into this story, one that makes you pause, reflect, and maybe even change the way you see yourself. Style hint: a soft, inviting scene with warm, natural lighting. A person standing on a quiet path, pausing thoughtfully, surrounded by fresh greenery and subtle rays of sunlight filtering through the trees. The atmosphere feels introspective and inspiring. No text over the image. Picture this: the world's most successful people. Think Elon Musk launching rockets or Steve Jobs revolutionizing the way we communicate. What do they all have in common? At their core, it was never just money or luck. It was the quality of their thoughts. Napoleon Hill famously declared, "What you think about, you become." But if believing in your future is the key to greatness, why does it seem so hard for most of us to unlock that door? Is it just about dreaming, or is there something bigger we're missing? Let me take you on a journey, one that starts on a noisy railway platform of all places. Amid the rush of trains and chatter of passengers, there was a beggar who survived day to day on the kindness of strangers. For him, every interaction was the same: stretch out an empty hand and hope for a coin. But one morning, his life took a sharp turn. A man stepped onto the platform, polished shoes, crisp suit, and the kind of confidence that seems to turn heads. The beggar thought, "Surely this man can spare me something." He moved closer, hand outstretched with quiet hope. But instead of a coin, the businessman offered him a challenge. "Have you ever given anything to anyone?" For the first time ever, the beggar found himself speechless. He echoed what he believed: "I have nothing to give." But the businessman didn't criticize. He simply said, "If you believe you have nothing to offer, then you have no right to ask for anything in return. Life is about exchange. If you can give me something, I'll give you something. But if not, I'm afraid I must move on." With that, the businessman caught his train, leaving the beggar lost in thought. Me? Give something? I have nothing! Those words spun in the beggar's mind for days. He watched life unfold, from the excitement of families reuniting to the gentle bloom of wildflowers pushing through the gravel by the tracks. And suddenly, inspiration struck. Maybe I do have something to offer. What if I give flowers in exchange for kindness? So, with trembling hands, he picked a few blossoms and waited. The next person who offered him a coin, he shyly handed them a flower. To his surprise, the stranger's face broke into a smile. For the first time, someone thanked him, not just for the exchange, but for making their day just a little brighter. Days turned into weeks, and a remarkable transformation took place. People were more generous. Some came back just for the flowers and his warm smile. And then, fate brought the businessman back to the station. The beggar, no, the flower seller, approached him, this time with confidence. "Sir, I'd like to give you something in return for your kindness, some flowers." The businessman nodded, gave him money, and accepted the bouquet. "You've learned an important lesson. I see a businessman standing before me, not a beggar," he said before boarding his train. Now here's where the story gets really interesting. The beggar realized people weren't giving out of pity. They were buying the joy he offered through his flowers. He wasn't asking, he was exchanging. That distinction changed his life. He left the station, started his own small business, and 6 months later returned in a suit of his own. When the businessman recognized him, the transformation was complete. You taught me that to receive, I must first give. I was never just a beggar. I always had value. All I needed was to see it. Here's the golden takeaway. How we see ourselves shapes our reality. Limit your thinking, and the world feels small. But the moment you choose to believe in your own worth, doors open where you least expect. A fun fact, did you know that the word potential comes from the Latin potentia, meaning power? That power is within you too. So ask yourself today, what can you give, even when you feel like you have nothing? Sometimes it's as simple as a smile, a word of encouragement, or a tiny wildflower. When you offer something genuine, what you receive in return can change your life. If this story sparked something inside you, even just a flicker, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this lesson valuable, hit that like button and share it with someone who might need a little inspiration today. Your next story is just around the corner. Don't miss it.